Good morning, thanks for joining me. It's been a while since I've done any gardening or even made a video, I guess. But today I'm gonna create a border for a new garden. The garden I've got here is gonna be in mostly shade, so that's exciting. But I'll show you what I'm doing here. So here's the edge here. I'm actually just going to put some pavers in right at the edge to create a wall, I guess an edge of the garden bed. And this here is the garden bed. It's right up against a garage and it gets shade. Now, before this garage was built here, this section was full of sun. It was, you know, in the sun for most of the day because the sun goes up and over and it's right in this area. So first off, I did put a few plants in here that I bought, but now I'm going to actually define the bed edge so that I can put proper soil in here and, you know, actually get this garden started with shade plants. These are the things I have so far. I've got a small hydrangea. I've got a hellebore, or what we call Lenten rose, I think. This is a spirea type. There's the name. So, wait, maybe not the name, that's the tag for it. The back. Double play red spirea, which grows in part shade, I guess. And then over here I've got a kalmia or a mountain laurel, which I really love. I think they're beautiful. It doesn't grow too tall, I think. You know, but there you can see what it is. Part sun, which will be perfect for here. And I did plop it in the ground so it wouldn't die in the pot. And as you can see, it's looking okay. These salvia and coneflowers here, I literally dug up from my other bed over there when I was cleaning it out. And I just plopped them in here, but I don't think I'm going to leave them here because I just want this garden to be all brand new stuff, not the things I have in my other beds already. So I'm going to define the edge, you know, create the actual bed. Not sure if I'm going to do straight across or do a half moon or a rounded edge. I'm going to use square pavers to do, you know, right at the edge of the actual stoop there. So it's one flat, smooth top. And then way in that, up there underneath the window, we have a ton of red bricks. So I'm just going to use that as my paver edge here on the front. So I'm going to get started and I'll show you guys as I make some progress. So I just used my shovel and my handheld and I dug down along the edge and I plopped this paver down here. You can see how high it is up against it. It's a little uneven, so this side needs to go down a bit. But this is what I think I'm going to do. So it stays up about 3 inches, about 3 inches above the stoop, so that if I have dirt against the edge here, it's not going to fall back and fall on the stoop. And I'm just going to line them up all the way across. Now I'm going to do it on the other side of the stoop too, over here, because I'm going to plant some boxwoods in that section to hide the electrical there. So that's what's going on now. I'm just going to line these up. Okay, so it took 8 pavers. That one over there looks a little, it needs to go down just a little bit, but that's what it's going to look like next to the drawer stoop. I think it's perfect, works for me. 8 pavers fit exactly perfect, which is nice. So now I'm just going to pull some of this dirt back in here and fill it up, pack it up next to it. I'm thinking what I will do is take some of this type of soil here, because you can see it's more sandy. Might be leftover concrete or who knows what. There are a lot of rocks too, and just put it in here. I'm going to use my shovel to do that. And see, that looks very sandy. It's not quite dirt. To create a stronger base and pull some of those rocks in behind it too, and hopefully it straightens up. But one side done, so I've got a trench dug for the front end of the border here. You know, it looks pretty decent. I just went down maybe 3 to 4 inches or so, just so I can lay the brick and it'll be fairly straight. Now the sun is at my back, and you can see the garden is in quite a bit of sun. It's probably 3 o'clock, 3:30 now. So pretty much all day until about 1:30, 2 o'clock, this was in shade. And now there's some sun. So you can see my edging, my pavers that I did earlier. I think they look nice. Now I'm just going to use red brick. Those ones, I used these along this edge because they're 6x6s, I think. 6 inch by 6 inch, and I think it creates a cleaner look. The red brick I have, you know, they've been used, so I'm just like repurposing them. And it's not going to look very pretty, but that's okay. It'll serve a purpose. It'll do what needs to be done. Okay, so I'm ready to get started again. I got sidetracked, or not really sidetracked, life happened. So I was not able to finish putting the border down back here because I had to go pick up my daughter and then from school, and the other one needed a ride somewhere else. You know, you guys know how it goes. Anyway, so I got some of it put down, as you can see here. At least the trench was dug, and I got some of it just laid. I'll show you in the front here. I do have an area where I think I like how it looks. Can you see down there? I've kind of got like a double layer of it. I'll flip the camera around here and show you guys. But I think it looks neater and almost as if it'll be easier to mow and to weed whack around. So I think I like this setup, this way I've laid it. So I'm going to do that all the way down. The bugs are brutal out these past few days though, so I like really covered myself in bug spray this morning, but I got bitten quite a bit the last time, so I learned my lesson. Anyway, here, I'll show you guys. You can see here that some of the bricks have quite a bit of leftover concrete or cement from when it was used before. So I'm putting these ones on the base level, like the lower, this level over here, the front one. So it's actually covered by dirt more, so all I'll see is the top. This one's still a little dirty, like you still see it, but I don't care. I'm just gonna use that as the base anyway. So, I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me doing this. I'm going to continue doing this all the way down and show you what I've got. I'll show you what's happened here. You can see that, you can kind of see clearly the S&H written on the brick as I go down. And then this one's a little too high right here, so I need to level that off a bit. But as I'm going down, the S&H is not, you know, I'm dropping it a little too low compared to up there. I don't know who's going to notice other than me, but I'm going to fix that so that the S&H is showing all the way to the top. You see, it's a time-consuming process. I haven't even gotten that much done. I feel like I've been out here for a little while. Okay, here we go. I'm almost done. You can see it is quite a time-consuming process, but for the most part, you know, they seem to be kind of level or equal heights. I think right around here might need to come up a little, but at this point I'm hitting the slope on the hill, so I've got to compensate for that down there. But I'm close. It's getting warm. But it looks good, I think. You can see it's not quite straight, but it's good enough for me, I think. And then back here is the edge of the bed, the back. I'm actually going to put bricks there or pavers, whichever one I have enough of. But it'll look like that. Okay, here we are. We happen to have a storm moving in right now, but I finally finished the pavers. The paver edge, as you can see, it's finally done. Yeah, I even did the very end there in front of the gutter. Now, I have to say, I do actually really like it. I think it turned out all right. I just have to put down some proper dirt, you know, some soil amendments. And I've got some black cow compost mix that I'm going to mix in here, get rid of the grass and the weeds that you see growing in there, and then plant the things I have to plant. So this garden, I think, is ready to really, for me to start working on and for me to finally turn into a nice shade garden. You know what I just realized too? This garden is about 30 feet long, because the garage we built here is 40 feet long, this wall. And yeah, so that was probably why it took me, you know, about 3 days to finish this little paver, retaining, whatever you want to call it, barrier, wall, whatever, garden edge. I probably did 2 to 3 hours a day for about 3 hours. I do not ever claim to work very fast, but you know, I take my time, but I think I get it done right. And also, I didn't put any mortar in or anything, you know, because I like my gardens, I don't know, fluid, so I can change it at any time, but also I don't have the know-how to do that, so I just, you know, just plop them down. Anyway, like I was done, I'm gonna show you guys, you know, better view of it. morning. Okay, so now today I'm ready to start planting in this garden bed that's next to the garage. I already got started. I took 4.5 bags of black cow manure and I mixed it into the dirt. I just kind of dumped the bags and used a rake and just raked it in to the top of the dirt. Instead of using garden soil, I figured compost might be a little bit better, you know, because the soil was so sandy and didn't have a whole lot of nutrients in it. Now I saved half a bag about of black cow so that when I plant the actual things I bought for in here, I'll kind of mix that into the dirt on the bottom, so it still also gets a bit of you know, fertilizer or a little bit of a boost to help it grow and get its roots all set. It's actually very warm here today. Last week was very cold, and now this week we're getting temperatures up to the 80s. Today should be 85 or something. So I did get started earlier putting down the dirt, the cow manure. It's about 11 o'clock now, and I'm just gonna try to see if I can get some of the plants planted here. I will show you guys quickly what I have, and then I will plop down the plants, kind of figure out where I want them to go, and then start planting. Here you can see I've got it mixed in. You can see over here how, like, you know, gray or sandy that soil was, gravelly. But I did mix in the cow manure. Look at how much better it looks. It just looks so much richer, which I think is a good start for the plants. And then I also have bags of mulch that I will put down. Here are my plants that I plan on you know, planting over here. I've got a lupine, a hydrangea, and multiple things. I put them in the cart and just sort of watered them, filled it with water so that you know, they won't be completely dry. It wouldn't be so much of a shock when I take them out of the pots. So now that they're done soaking, I'm going to put them where I think would be good. I also have in this pot way over here, this blue-green pot, I have a PGM rhododendron that I also want to put in here. I'm thinking maybe on the other side of that calmia, but I will dig that out and put it in, and then we'll show you guys. This garden should be relatively done or established today. Yay. So this is how I think I'd like it to be. This lupine actually calls it needs full sun, but I think my gardens over there are full, and it gets almost too much sun. Here I think by the summertime it might get a good 5 to 6 hours of sun, so I'm gonna pop that in there. I've got some snapdragons and this thing, which is English daisy, and it should mound up, so I feel like here might be nice. It says part sun as it falls. That's a hydrangea. This is an astilbe called heavy metal astilbe, which can take part sun as well. So that'll stay there. We've got the spirea. I moved the hellebore over here. It was there. I put it here because this will start to fade, and then, you know, it'll just be leaves, right? Not as much interest. So then I put the euchera, I think. This is coral bells. Timeless night. That one calls for just full shade, right? No sun. So I'm guessing this part of the building, which is about halfway through, should be in full shade for the most part. So, I mean, it might get like a few hours of sun when it comes through that way, but I don't think it'll be too bad. So that one goes in the middle. So does the nettle in the front. I'm just gonna, you know, kind of have it hang in the front. I've got the calmia. These salvias, I'm thinking maybe I'll just slide them down that way to create a little more colorful interest on that side and to give these some room to grow here. This one is a lady's mantle, and that should get fairly wide, I think, so that's why I put only one in between that. I did plant the PJM rhododendron here. Looks good, I think. That one should get 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. This is a, what's it called? Pinky Winky? Pinky Winky Panicle Hydrangea. These they start off with white flowers that are shaped like cones, and then they progress to a pink, almost a dark pink color, and I think they're gorgeous. This should grow 6 to 8 feet tall, 6 to 8 feet wide. So I know it's going to get quite full here. This is also a very windy section, so I got one with hopefully sturdier stems. It also says on it it's got low deer resistance, and sometimes the deer do come up here and eat things, so I'll have to figure out a way to make sure they don't munch on that. And then the bleeding heart in the middle. I figure I love bleeding hearts, and that one is part sun as well, so in the morning when the little bit of sun comes up here, it'll be good for it. That's deer resistant. I'm hoping in the spring, like say next year, this will be flowering, and then the hellebore will be flowering, and then I'll get something else down there that's an early spring flowering kind of flower, so that the entire bed will at least have something early spring, you know, pretty to look at. So I've got them in their spots. I'm going to dig the holes, add some black cow manure into the hole, mix it in, and plant them. Yay. So here's the pinky winky hydrangea. I got it out of the pot. It looks very like root bound, pot bound, whatever that word is. So I'm just going to kind of break up the roots here a little, and then plant it in the hole. Now in the hole, I did take some of the black cow compost here and mixed it in. So it's looking good. And that should give the roots, you know, kind of like some room to grow, to sort of branch out and hopefully get a good start. As I put the pot in, the plant in the hole as well, I'm going to backfill with the extra dirt, but then sprinkle some more compost on top of it. Okay, and so here we are, finally done. I completed the bed, put mulch on it and everything, and I will say I am very pleased with it. Adding these little pansies to the front, the pop of yellow, made quite an impact on the bed to make it look completed, you know. I will say too, this teeny tiny little hosta was in a garden bed in the front that wasn't doing so well because there was too much sun in that area. So I decided to dig it up. There were two of them, so one's here and one's on the other end down there. Just, you know, so that it can be in the shade and hopefully grow a little bit better here. I also had some snapdragons that I bought to plant in pots and never got to it. So I put them in here. I think I got 4 or 6 of them. So here they are. This one's looking a little, you know, hurt. It needs some help. I also really like this pop of pink from the nettle. I think that looks really pretty, and it's pretty much in the middle of the bed, like halfway down. The astilbe will grow really, Eucharis, will grow really big back there, which is nice. That's the lady's mantle, which I'm hoping will start to, you know, stand up straight soon. Bleeding heart, PJM. This here was also some lilies. Yeah, they're lilies, I think. Asiatic lilies that I had planted in another garden that has been, you know, now the driveway kind of runs through that. So I just dug them up from the edge of the driveway and I planted them here along with this random iris. And there are a few snapdragons and the other hosta hydrangea. Hopefully I got all the names right there. Anyway, that is my completed garden. So thanks for joining me, watching me while I created this bed, pretty much with doing the paver edge and then putting down the compost in there, mixing it in so that the soil is a little bit better for plants, amending the soil, and then actually planting the things I've been buying since the beginning of this year to put in this garden. And it's about noon here. You can see behind me the garage casts enough shade that This garden is in shade for pretty much all of the day up until the afternoon around 3 o'clock when it gets sunlight, but that only lasts for, I don't know, 5 hours tops. So it's not full shade, it's more of a part shade type of garden except for the very middle of the bed, which I'm so excited to have a bed for this. Also wanted to point out that I planted lady's mantle as well as nettle, so that I can harvest some of the leaves and stuff, forage sort of from them, because they're supposed to, you can make teas out of them. They're supposed to be beneficial in a certain way, good for you. So I'm kind of happy to finally have those as well. I've been wanting to buy a plant of those just so I can try them out, like I've done with clover in the past. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Next, I think in the next few days I'll go through and give a garden tour so you can see the peonies and roses and everything else I've got going on. They look quite nice this year. All right, have a good day.